On the next Roseanne show, cultural comedian Danny Hoch speaks his own language.
Super Belles 9 por $1. Sui potero, marca gran batata 79 centavos por libra. Holy moly, I can't believe it.
Then, singer Natalie Imbruglia dishes with Roseanne.
What's up with you and Courtney Love? Oh, I want to hear this gossip.
Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I did.
And sings her brand new single, Smoke.
We're going to eat some famous sausage sandwiches from Jody Maroney's Sausage Kingdom. How good does that look? Are you excited about it? Yep. All right, well, pass these out then. Here. Take this whole thing. Take that. It looks good. It smells good. It ought to be good. Aren't you going to eat one? Are you vegetarian or something? Are you eating one? Yep. Okay, good. Do you guys want to ask me any questions? Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to say I think you look beautiful.
Oh, thank you very much.
And I wondered how you lost all of your weight.
I lost it all with Richard Simmons. Thank you. Yes, sir?
Are you ever thinking about coming back to television comedies episodes?
No, but what's in your beard? What is that sticking in there? What is that?
It's a spike.
Is it through your lip?
Yes.
Oh, my God. No, do that again. It's something that's just sticking through your lip?
It's a piercing.
A piercing?
Mm-hmm.
And why'd you do that? Is it for
fit
any...
my look. I thought it was neat, so I just tried something different.
It wasn't for any, like, weird...
It's kind of sexual, too.
It's a sexual thing? Oh, boy, let's be really nosy. Like, what kind of sexual thing to, like, keep people away?
You could consider it the opposite of a French tickler.
The opposite of... I can't even imagine. I'm scared, though.
I'd have to show you.
I hope it works out for you.
But thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am?
50.
What did you do before you became a comedian? Like, did you work as a waitress or something like that?
Oh, yeah. I worked as a waitress for many, many years.
Anything else?
I did a lot of weird, like, minimum wage kind of things. But just before that, like, I had 3 kids, and I was a housewife. Stayed home and raised my kids.
So you got your big break in the comedian field?
In the comedian field?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and porn star.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah.
What do you like to do in your leisure time?
Eat.
Oh, great.
And watch TV. I love to watch TV. I have that satellite thing. It's pretty awesome. You get
Flip
like
the channel all morning,
yeah.
noon, and night? Yeah.
Yeah, that DSS one where it's got like 50 channels and nothing's ever on. Except for the good stuff is like the Justice Files and all these serial killer shows, Court TV. I like stuff like that, 911 and Unsolved Mysteries and stuff like that, you know.
How to be a cop and all that, right?
Well, I love Cops. I just love that show. Don't you love that show? It's the best. You know, when they turn that camera off, you know, I try to imagine what they're really doing. I love that show. Okay, one more and then I'm done.
Hey, what's your dream vacation?
Is anyone from America here today? How cool is that? Where are you from?
I'm from Manchester, England.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
What's sparkling on you? You have a piercing too?
Ask him about his piercings.
What about your piercing?
I have
Where are you pierced?
Yeah, I have about 8.
You have 8 pierces?
Yeah.
Where are they? I don't want to know, but I have to ask.
I've got 4 and 4.
4 on the top half and 4 on the bottom?
Yeah.
Why do you want to do something like that?
It's the same as this guy down here. All my piercings are sexual.
All your piercings are for sex?
Yeah. Except my nose. That stops me picking it.
I don't get why Okay, you say your piercings are sexual. What does that mean? Can I know what that means?
It's
I
like
mean,
when you get
without
kissed on
being
your
too
neck.
gross.
You get kissed on your neck.
Yeah.
It tickles. It's nice. If you have it pierced, it's more sensitive. Same as your nipple, and further and lower and lower. And lower.
You mean the part you get pierced becomes more sensitive?
Yeah.
Because it's like in agony and trauma?
Because there's something that.
Yeah, okay. Is that basically it? It's agitated all the time?
Well,
And...
it's like you with tattoo. I don't have any tattoos.
No, I got way too... I'm getting them off. I'm tired of my tattoos. Hey, we'll be right back, so stick around. Remember your favorite teacher, the one that changed your life? Well, we found a teacher like that in Colorado. As a class project, she and her students have freed more than 100 slaves who were being held in Sudan. Please welcome this inspiring teacher, Barb Vogel, and two of her students, Ashley and Manuel. Hi, Barb. Were you just absolutely shocked to find out that slavery still exists in the world?
I had no idea that there was modern-day slavery. I was stunned. We had been studying Civil War and the slavery issue in America. And we just finished a unit, and I found in the Rocky Mountain News an article, and it had this picture of this beautiful Afro-American girl, just the happiest photograph I'd ever seen. And I thought I was going to read good news, and underneath it, there was this big title that said, "Slavery Thrives in Sudan." And I said, what? Slavery?
Shocking.
This is almost the year 2000. Right. So I took the article the next day to my students. And, you know, I've taught 25 years. And, you know, I was with a class when the shuttle blew up, and the kids were all sitting there, and, you know, all the tragedy, you know, in the Oklahoma bombing.
Right.
But this, for some reason, was different. And as I read this article to them...
Well, because this little girl was about their same age, wasn't she?
Yes. She was 7 when she was captured and put into slavery. And as I read it, I was sitting in my chair, and the children were sitting in front of me, and tears were coming out. Boys and girls were crying. And it was a moment I'll never forget.
Could you believe it when you heard it?
No, I could not believe it. It's like a girl my age was in slavery for 6 years, just like me. And I mean, it was devastating. I mean, I couldn't understand why someone would want to do that.
Did you feel like not too long ago it could have been you too?
Yeah, I knew that it could have been me because it just, but I just couldn't put together how that could be going on now when we had fought so many wars over it and done so many things to stop it. I just couldn't understand why it would be going on now.
It doesn't make any sense to me either that happens in the world. And I don't know why does it happen? You're talking about Sudan, but you know, it does happen all over the world.
Oh, it's, you know, when we began to research this problem, we were completely shocked. You know, I looked on the computer and I punched in the word slavery, and it was incredible. I mean, there were thousands and thousands of pages and I just was shocked. I did not know that slavery was such an issue.
Let's take a look at this tape of the first little girl that you guys actually freed. Is that her?
That's the first girl. That's a Quack Malone. Well, that feels, wow. It's, you know, it's so wonderful to see that child.
Tell us what it is that your class did to set this girl free.
Well, when I was finished reading the article, the children asked me a question that changed my life. They said to me, "What are we going to do about this, Barb?" And I said, "Well, let's make some plans." So we sat around and they came up with ideas, and we came up with a campaign called Stop and it's an acronym for slavery that oppresses people. And we began a human rights campaign, a writing campaign. And we began to write senators, congressmen, we wrote celebrities, we wrote shows to get the word out. We wanted to make the world aware, because nobody we had talked to knew that modern day slavery was going on.
No.
I mean, millions of people, literally. And mostly women and children. You know, in Sudan, it's when they capture these people and they raid their villages, the soldiers from the north, they kill most of the men. And then they take the women and children into slavery and take them back up north.
Well, why does this happen? Why doesn't the government of Sudan do anything to stop it?
Well, because
because they distance themselves, don't they?
Right.
They say, oh, it's not a government, it's against the law, but then they really don't go in and like enforce the law to make sure it doesn't happen.
That's right. They say it's not going on, but it's well documented. I mean, there's been human rights meetings all over the world about it. There was one in Washington, D.C. at the Black Caucus was talking about this in Washington last week.
So we need to get information out so people can get involved and stop it.
Oh, yes.
But we just had a whole case in L.A. I was reading in the paper a couple months ago where they were holding women as sexual slaves here from... There's a ton of that.
Well, there's a lot of sexual slavery. I mean, Southeast Asia is a big part. You know, there's slavery in India, Haiti, Mauritania in Africa, Sudan in Africa. 6 months ago, I knew none of this. And
now, tell us how many, you know, first of all, I want to talk about how weird is it to, like, you know, your class send in their own personal money.
Yes. Started with a penny in a jar and some letters. And the children decided that they had heard that a quack that you just saw had been freed by Christian Solidarity International. So we contacted them. We contacted the American Anti-Slavery Group and spoke to the research director, Dr. Charles Jacobs, and started a conversation with them to find out. And then they found out that they could actually bring a slave home, back to their family. So the children, that's something that when they made plans, that's something they wanted to do. And they gave their extra lunch money, snack money. They set up lemonade stands. They sell the T-shirts that Manny has on. People to this point have donated, and God love them, $18,000 to this cause.
Did you have any kind, because I know I've heard that some people have, actually have ethical problems with the fact that you are buying people and then setting them free.
Well,
how do you feel about that?
Well, you know, I think that's a very legitimate question, and that's something that we asked ourselves when we began this campaign. We did not want to promote slavery or start a slave market, and that's something that we researched very carefully. We do not buy, you know, anybody. What we do is we redeem them. We free them. Frederick Douglass, I mean, this is precedent set. Frederick Douglass was redeemed this way and set free so he could do the work that he did for his people. And we have, the children and I feel, that we have no other choice. I mean, we will not leave these babies and these women and these children in slavery for another 15 years until the government take action. What other recourse do we have to get these people back to their villages? The Dinka tribal leaders work very closely with CSI.
It's weird about world governments and all of that, that they seem not to ever take into any account women and children.
Well, the vast majority of people in slavery are women and children.
Well, maybe that's why we don't hear about it, Barb.
I know, it's...
We need to make a change there. Hey, I love what your shirt says. The greatest sin of our time is not the few who have destroyed, but the vast majority who have sat idly by. Tell us who said that.
Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr.
You just told me that from last week, how many people have been set free?
Last week, 640 women and children went home. Another 640.
You guys are doing great things. I'm proud of you, very proud of you. You're great people, great young people.
You know what's wonderful is to have a school district like Cherry Creek School District, and I really mean this, and a superintendent like Dr. Shirkey, who allows teachers like myself and other teachers to express, and part of our mission is to teach children to care.
Right.
And that's wonderful to have that freedom to do that.
You guys have a theme song, don't you? Well, let's listen to it as we go to break.
I thought that they were people I would never know, but I since learned of history, not on a weathered page. I have learned of slavery happening today. Join us, hold our freedom flag, help the wind carry freedom to the land.
So you took your whole class to the top of that mountain?
Yes, that was Sleeping Indian Mountain. And we had seen a piece, some footage from Sudan. And one of the women had said, the world has forgotten us. And we were so touched by that. So symbolically, we hiked to the top of this mountain with our Stop Slavery flag. And we wanted to scream at the top of our lungs, let freedom ring, so that the wind could carry our thoughts of freedom around the world. It was a moment I'll never forget. You know, when we were up there, I was just overcome with emotion, knowing how important this was to the children. And I turned around, and there was one of my Afro-American girls, Shanae, was there. She had big tears in her eyes, and they were rolling down her cheeks. And she has a hard time expressing what she's thinking sometimes. She looked at me, and she said, with her eyes, "These are my people, and I'm doing something about this, and I'm proud." So we grabbed each other, and we stood on the edge and looked at the valley below and just let the wind carry our thoughts of freedom. And, you know, it's a...
You said how easily the kids came to the whole concept of how wrong it is.
Well, you know, we don't take any political or religious stand on this. The children come to this with such clarity and simplicity. It's wrong. There is no reason ever in the world to own a human being.
No.
So it's simply wrong.
I wanted to ask you what you have learned, Ashley, about the power of one person.
Well, I've learned that the power of one means that even if you know something's wrong and others don't, that you have to believe in yourself and just pursue whatever you're doing and always believe in yourself, and that you can do things. And my teacher, she always used to tell me and my classmates to always do small things with great love, which is a quote from Mother Teresa. And that just means when you do something good for people, don't always think you have to get paid back for it, because your payback is just to know that you did something good.
Manny, what have you learned about the power of one?
I've learned that one person can make a difference in the world, because if, like, nobody in our class could ignore that slavery was going on, and I think that if you really put your heart and mind to it, you could make the world a better place.
Beautiful, I think. Well, I'm glad that there are young people like you guys coming up to go into the world, because the world really needs you. Really, really needs you. You're just great people. We want to thank Barb, Ashley, and Manny for being here. And we couldn't bring the entire class to the studio, but we want to acknowledge them, all of them. And here are all of their names. And congratulations for making the world a better place, for doing something for all of us.
We must find a way to stop and free the slaves, free the people, free the people, free the people.
is just a great performance artist out of New York. His comedy is all about cultural diversity and breaking through stereotypes. His award-winning show, Some People, aired on HBO. Take a look.
They shoot people, David. I see them. I read the New York Times, not the Post, the Times, and I see them. They shoot each other. And let me tell you something, David. I feel very bad. I wish these poor kids didn't have to grow up with all violence and, a mess, and my heart goes out to them. But, David, let them shoot each other and not you. That's the way I feel.
Please welcome Danny Hoch. So you grew up in New York and Queens.
I grew up in Queens. I live in Brooklyn, and right? A handful in the audience, and I'm every time I come to LA, I feel like I'm on a safari.
Like what kind of safari?
Like you know, driving on the freeway, cell phone, you know, nobody talks to anybody except where they work and where they live kind of safari.
Right, and everybody lives in everybody lives in their own little cubicle in LA too. There's absolutely no diversity whatsoever, is there?
Yeah, in New York you have the democracy of the subway, you know. You have to you have to talk to people, you know, whether it's about something good or something bad, you got to rub up against people.
And that kind of makes you, I think it makes you a richer and better person, doesn't it?
I think so. I think it's made me a better person, you know. I mean, if I can't imagine, like I shot this movie, I was telling you before the show, you know, in Iowa this summer, and I can't imagine growing up anywhere except a place where, you know, there's people from all over the world and people speaking different languages. Because
how many languages were spoken in where you grew up?
Just on one floor in my building, there were probably like 5 or 6 different languages. And on top of different languages, you know, different forms of English, you know, whether it was Dominicanized English or, you know, Polish Yiddish English or Jamaican English, et cetera, et cetera. And on top of that, you know, Cuban Spanish and Puerto Rican Spanish and Yiddish and everything.
Well,
Hebrew.
Hebrew.
Yeah.
Can you do some of them? Like come on, do like a Dominican.
Well, there's a lot of different Dominican accents, but my last show, you know, I played a Dominican DJ who really is just sort of, you know, speaking a whole bunch of Americanisms, like, you know, este fin de semana en el gigantic Tomero supermarket en Brentwood, Long Island, la super venta del siglo, holy moly, muslos de pollo Sherry Brook Farms, 99 centavos por libra, plátanos super verdes 9 por $1, sweet potato marca gran batata 79 centavos por libra, holy moly, I can't believe it.
But I just was interested in how you heard these different people and how when you heard them with such clarity that I think escapes most of us.
Well, my mother's a speech pathologist, and she worked in a hospital where it was her job to teach people who had lost their ability to speak, either because of a car accident or police gunshot wounds or a stroke or something like that. She worked in the Bronx, and her job was to teach people how to reclaim language. So if I already am growing up with a sense of value for language like that, and on top of that, all the people around me are speaking a myriad of languages, you know, I mean, not even like the English I'm speaking to you now. I remember growing up watching TV and seeing shows like Dukes of Hazzard and, you know, Dynasty.
My son's favorite Dukes of Hazzard.
I thought they were being broadcast from Mexico or Canada, like a different country, because nobody where I grew up spoke like Bo and Luke Duke, you know, or whatever is the J.R. Ewing on Dallas. I really thought that was like across the border. So,
well, it was Queens.
Right, exactly, across that border.
It's like a little nation over there, isn't it?
It is. Queens, to this day, is the most multi-ethnic county in the entire world. And, you know, again, on one block, I mean, in my building, I don't even know how many nationalities, you know. So if you grow up where everybody in the neighborhood is a minority and a majority all at the same time, you grew up with a different social viewpoint. And that's how I create my work.
Well, give us an idea of the difference in your social viewpoint and say, just an average person out here in California. Say me. Because I grew up in Salt Lake City. We had some diversity in my neighborhood as far as color and language, but not much.
Well, I think, you know, one of the things is like, for instance, when you know, watch TV or you watch a lot of movies, you know, the people that are creating movies and television, you know, when they put African Americans on or they put Puerto Ricans on or Asians, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, you know, if anybody who's not white and middle class or upper middle class is going to be put on the stage, they're on the periphery.
Right, absolutely.
In my world, they're center stage. So, you know, they can't come on and just, you know, say a little funny line and get off. You know, they got to come on and they got to be a three-dimensional person. Like, you know, all of us sitting here are three-dimensional.
Right.
So everybody in the world is three-dimensional. But when you look at the TV, that's not really what you see.
The characters you see on TV are rather just the accent and nothing else.
Exactly, yeah.
I heard that you did something pretty amazing. I thought it was pretty admirable. Because, like, you know, when I did 10 years of Roseanne, I always was dealing with that, but there was no way around it. There was just no way around it.
I know.
Well, I was working in this factory on the show in the beginning of the first season, and I wanted to be diverse and multicultural with, you know, Hispanics and black people, white people, because it was a factory town, and that was, in fact, the makeup of a factory town. And, like, they wrote a character for a Latino person, and they named her Juanita Goldberg. I'm not freaked out because I'm like, oh, my God, you can't go to this place. You can't go to, but there was no writers who could give that character another voice. And then the black people, they just had them standing around in the back.
Right.
It's really, really scary.
I know, as if that's like how we live in this nation, and that's not a, you know, I mean, I don't know where you all live, but that's not how it works in my neighborhood. So
I like this one character you do. That's this boy from Montana who's a white boy but thinks he's black.
yeah,
I think that's so American teenager right now. I think that's really cool.
it absolutely is. It's this character named Flip. He calls himself Flip Dog. And he's essentially standing in front of the mirror, you know, looking at himself, imagining that he's on the Jay Leno show as a famous, rich gangster rap star, you know, saying, yeah, man, you know, like, forget this life I'm living. I don't want to stay at the mall all day, you know, walk back and forth from Foot Locker to Chi-Chi's. I don't aspire to that in my life, man. You know, I want to, like, you know, chill in my BMW, you know, like all black people, you know. And, like, you know, all the girls wearing bikinis, because this young white kid in Montana has never met any African Americans. He gets all his images when he turns on the TV and, you know, sees gangster rap videos and sees, you know, whatever shows are on, you know, and those are the depictions. So, like, where do you get your information from about people that are not like you?
I think we do get it from TV. We get it from movies, too.
And we believe it, and that's what I think that's what's dangerous.
But then we emulate it, and it's always, like, really negative, and then it's emulated. Like, for instance, when my son, he's 20 now, but when he's in high school and he wanted to wear the big pants, and we used to have all these big fights about wearing the big pants. I go, this is what people wear in penitentiaries.
I know.
This is not what teenagers wear in Beverly Hills.
But teenagers want to be like penitentiaries because it's cooler to be the oppressed than the oppressor, you know?
Right.
So it's like, people don't realize.
That's what's so good about your comedy is that you do touch on that, and that's like a real dangerous place to go.
It is, because, you know, a lot of people, they want to go, they think they're coming to see stand-up comedy, they just want to laugh at characters or laugh at black people or laugh at Latinos or laugh at Jews. And I'm saying laugh at yourself, you know, because you're kind of funny.
Yeah, the things that we emulate and the places that we get it from TV, when you would see the writers who write it, it's pretty scary. It is pretty scary. And, like, that's one reason, like, you don't see, like, accurate depictions of any race or nationality of people on TV, because none of them are writing any of that stuff.
I know.
Am I right?
They're not. And you have, I mean, I know you've had this happen to you. You know, I'm out here in LA doing my show, Jails, Hospitals, and Hip Hop right now. So I got these studio executives coming to my show saying, ooh, jails, hospitals, and hip hop. And then, you know, they want to have a meeting with me and they want to be, like, in business with Danny Hoch. And, you know, they ask me what I want to do, and I tell them, and they say, yeah, but, you know, come on, America's mostly white people. They don't want to listen to that.
Right, that is what they say.
I'm like, damn, you're being racist on like 10 different levels because, A, who do you think white people are?
Right. Well, they think it's them.
Right, they think it's them. And then second of all, what do you think they're thinking? And third of all, what do you think America is? I mean, what do you think we want to listen to? You are the power makers. You are making the media images and decisions, you know, and I'm like, all right, well, you want to be in business with me? Do this.
I heard that you turned down, like you was going to go on Seinfeld, and you turned that down because you didn't like that they were wanting you to be just a stereotype of a...
Yeah, they had me come out to, like, guest star in an episode, and I even made it to the set, you know, and made it to the rehearsals, and we were walking through, and they asked me to, you know, do this funny Spanish accent, and I said, listen, I do a whole bunch of accents. But you're asking me to play a guy who you're going to see for like maybe 3 scenes.
Being a pool boy.
Yeah, like the guy who takes care of the pool, you know, and you are the center of the show, not this character. I can't do this. And, you know, we got into this argument. He said, oh, come on, it's just a half-hour comedy show. And I said, do you know who's watching your little half-hour comedy show? Millions of people all over the country, millions of people all over the world. I mean, you know, and what are they going to think based on this character? I mean, you want me to jump around as the pool guy, that's cool. You know, I'm funny, I'm also serious in what I do, but I'll jump around, but not in a Spanish accent, you know. So they sent me back to New York.
It's cool because you got to draw a line, you do. There's not, you know, you're not rewarded for having integrity in this business. You're not rewarded, you're penalized for it. But you know what? I think you're really good, and I like what you say. I like that you walk that edge that nobody wants to walk.
Thank you.
Any color of people don't want to walk that edge. But you know, it needs to be if anything's going to change.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That.
Thank you for being here. When we come back, one of the hottest voices in music will perform for us. Natalie Imbruglia is next. Don't go away. My next guest has been topping the charts all over the world with her album, Left of the Middle. Here it is. Here to perform her latest single, Smoke, please welcome Natalie Imbruglia.
on the next Roseanne Show. It's the big screen's first lady of action, Pam Grier.
Nothing's right, I'm torn. I'm all out of faith. This is how I feel. I'm cold and I am shamed, lying naked on the floor. Illusion never changed into something real. I'm wide awake and I can see the perfect sky is torn. I'm all out of faith. This is how I feel.
You are so cute, and I love your voice.
Thank
I
you.
really love your voice, and we know you from that video. But
Thank you for having me on the show.
Well,
I'm very excited.
Thank you for being here.
Do you know your show's massive back home? down
I
under?
know, like it's
Massive.
like it went huge, like #1 in Australia. And
me and my family, we all used to sit down after dinner and like.
that's
"Roseanne's on,
so
Roseanne's on."
nice.
Yeah, we
That's
did.
so cool. I thank all my fans down there.
I
That makes
will.
me really happy. I'm going to go there. I've never gone. I want to go.
You've never been?
I've never been anywhere.
Oh
what are you
my
talking about? I
God.
never get out of the house.
You
Except for to go to work. But I want to
You
go
would
down.
love
I know that's what
Australia.
everybody tells me.
Oh, the people are so
What's
cool
the
there.
city you live in?
The Central Coast, it's 2 hours north of Sydney. It's like on the beach, really chilled, really cool. But
What-
you'd love it. You'd love the people there.
I really would. I'd like to see Sydney and
Melbourne's amazing
Melbourne,
as well.
Yeah.
Melbourne's a bit more classy, I think. I shouldn't really say that. But I
A
think
little more
it is.
upscale.
I think so, yeah.
You grew up on the beach there, and you're an Italian girl.
Yes.
So was that weird, like being around a whole bunch of blonde beach people?
Yeah, it was. It was. I remember being really young and all the girls had blonde hair and perms, and so I went and got a perm and I put loads of lemon juice in my hair to try and make myself. But I used to get picked on because I had
being
big
dark?
eyes and I had this weird last name, and they used to call me Mick Jagger Lips and chase me around the school. It was quite weird, really. Mick Jagger doesn't have that big. He's got a big mouth, but.
Yeah. But you know, all you people down there, down under, you all have the people that I've met. I like them all, and they have like really good sense of humor and don't take themselves too seriously, like in America.
100%.
Have you noticed how seriously people take themselves out here?
Big time.
They're
yeah.
over the top with it, aren't they?
That's why I think you'd love it there, because they're just so welcoming. And I mean, you walk down the street and people are like, "G'day, how you doing?" Whereas in London, when I first moved to London, I went to the supermarket and I got in the lift and this lady was there and I was like, "G'day, how you doing?" And she was like, you know, looked at me like, "What do you want from me?" So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's freaky out here in LA because like people will walk down the street, like they'll have like a live dog on their head and like half naked with stuff hanging out of their orifices, and people won't look twice, but if you try to say hello and be friendly, it'll freak them out.
I've noticed that.
It's pretty weird.
I've stopped trying.
What's up with you and Courtney Love? Oh, I want to hear this gossip.
Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I did.
It's funny because the first I heard about it was in Australia, and I was doing this radio interview, and this guy says to me, "So, you know, Courtney Love, apparently she slagged you off." And I said, "Well, what did she say?" And he said, "Well, apparently she said, you can't turn a soap star into a pop star." And you know what my response was?
What?
"She knows who I am?" That was my honest reaction. And then I thought, hang on a minute, that's not very nice. But I've never actually met her.
Because you used to be like on a soap opera.
Yeah.
That's what you did first,
yes,
right?
it was called Neighbours, and I did it for 2 years.
Was that like a big hit, like Friends Is Here or something?
It was massive. It was actually bigger in the UK. So when I first went to London, I mean, I just thought I was so cool because everybody, I mean, I was in the airport and I signed 10 autographs before I even got out. And I was like, this is cool. So, yeah.
And so, like, how did you decide to go from, like, being a soap star to being a singer? You always knew you could sing, right?
Well, I actually was a dancer as a kid. I started dancing when I was 2.
Wow.
And I danced for 14 years. And that led me into acting and singing. So I actually started acting and singing at 13. But my break came first with acting. So you know what it's like. I mean, I don't know about here, but in Australia, it's very separate.
Yeah.
So when my acting career took off, I told myself, you're not allowed, you know, you're not allowed to sing. And so did everybody else, basically. I mean, it was a bit of a joke. Oh, God, when's your singing career coming out? People would jive you about it.
But you told me that your mom wasn't into you singing, even though you knew you could sing. Your mom didn't want you to sing.
I used to ask my mum to do private singing lessons. And she was like, "Oh, you're just copying off Lee Belcher down the street." This girl who lived down the street, she used to do it. And my mum didn't take me seriously. But she came to open day at the talent school, and the singing teacher said to her she should do privates. And then they were like, "Oh, you think so?" And they were all proud. And I was like, "Tried to tell you."
What did it feel like to first, like when you first heard your big hit song on the radio?
Oh my God. It's a funny story. I was in a supermarket and I'd had the worst day. I had a parking ticket, and then I got to the cash register, and I didn't have my card, my credit card. I had to go all the way back down, and I was cursing. I was in the car with my friend. I was like, you know, having a really bad day. And we drove out, because, you know, the radio doesn't work underground.
Right.
And we drove out, and just as we drove out, the song came on, and I was like, ah, that's me. And I was grabbing, I thought it might be a cassette tape. Like, I just couldn't believe it was actually my song on the radio. It was just amazing.
You've had a lot of success in different ways, and you're only 23 years old. Yeah. That's pretty amazing.
This year's just been, I mean, you know, I don't know how I'm going to cope next year. Do you know what I mean? Because so much has happened this year.
Right.
It's kind of...
And it's hard to continually have to top it.
Yes.
But, you know, if you want to, you can, because, you know, I think you have a lot of talent.
Thank you.
We're going to take a commercial. Don't go away. We'll be right back and talk some more. I would like to thank Natalie and all of my guests today, you, the audience, and you at home. And see you next time. Hey, as we go out, show us your
My tattoo?
awesome Chinese tattoo.
It means courage.
That's cool on the foot there. Did that hurt? I
Yeah,
got one
big time.
right on the big toe that killed.
It hurts, doesn't it?
It really hurt.
But I want another one now.
See, I have 5 of them. Now I'm at the
5.
phase to, like, get them removed by laser, which hurts a million times worse than getting them.
That's what I've heard. Does it leave a scar?
No, it doesn't leave a scar, but it hurts.
It hurts.
It kills. It kills.
You've got 5?
I have 5 or 6 of them now.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm
and
jealous.
It was in a kind of a period where I was, like, on a lot of Prozac and stuff. Oh, we don't want to talk about it. See you next time.